And I'll give you one line that instantly replaces the empty, "Hi, how are you?" with something that opens real conversation every time. Most of us try to read body language, second-guess tone, or overanalyze tiny signals, and we still miss what matters. Here's the truth. You don't need tricks. You need better questions. 5 questions, simple enough to ask anywhere, powerful enough to reveal who a person really is, what drives them, what hurts them, and what they will fight for when it counts. These questions come from a place the Stoics would approve of, not manipulation, but understanding. Because the point is not to control people, it's to connect with them. Stay with me until the end. You'll get the 5 questions, the psychology behind why they work, and tiny real stories you can model tonight. First question. Ask this exactly. What's been the highlight of your week so far? It sounds casual, almost light, but it does 3 heavy things. First, it forces specificity. People can't hide behind busy or fine. They must choose a moment. Choice equals value. Second, it reveals attention. Whatever they mention is what they notice. Family, achievement, novelty, service, rest. Third, it gives you their energy map. Watch their face when they answer. Voices change, posture opens, eyes brighten. That is where their joy lives. A quick story. I asked a teammate this question in a coffee line. She didn't mention her promotion, though she'd just gotten one. She said, "My neighbor's elderly mum moved in. I spent Saturday building shelves in her room." No performative humility, just simple satisfaction. Months later, when I needed someone to lead a cross-functional project where patience mattered more than ego, I asked her first. She quietly crushed it. The question had already told me how she would show up under pressure. If the answer is a work win, you've got a driver. If it's a quiet moment with a parent, you've got loyalty. If it's a new trail run at sunrise, you've got curiosity and self-propulsion. None of these are right or wrong. They're maps. And a map lets you navigate. But a map of joy isn't enough. You also need a map of growth. So the second question is this. What's something you used to believe that you don't believe anymore? This is a humility test disguised as a conversation. Mature people light up here. They talk about an old belief they outgrew. I thought staying late meant I was the best. Or, I believed I had to be liked to be respected. Or, I used to think asking for help was weakness. Why is this so revealing? Because it shows whether a person updates themselves. The insecure cling to being right. The wise cling to the truth, even if it means admitting yesterday me was wrong. People talk about humanity, but they're really telling you where they've been wounded and what they value. That told me he'd manage for sustainability, not burnouts. The team later set records, with fewer late nights. If someone struggles to answer, don't judge. Notice. Either they haven't reflected much, or they fear being wrong. Both create friction later. If they answer easily and specifically, you have a learner, not a defender. Learners grow. Defenders dig trenches. The third question cuts deepest, and it's the safest to ask. If you could change one thing about how people treat each other, what would it be? I wish people would keep their promises. That usually comes from a lifetime of small betrayals, cancelled plans, missed deadlines, casual commitments broken like they were nothing. You're meeting someone for whom integrity is oxygen. I wish people would listen to understand, not to reply. That's someone who has felt unheard, interrupted, misunderstood. If you want trust with this person, slow down, reflect back what they said, and watch the relationship deepen. I wish people would be more direct. They value clarity over comfort. They will respect you for being honest, even when it stings. A business partner told me, I wish people would stop making promises they never intended to keep. He now runs projects like a clock and tells clients the truth before it's convenient. Our reputation improved because his value system was a backbone, not a slogan. Notice the emotion under the answer. Frustration means pain is fresh. Calm conviction means a personal code is well built. Hope means they believe change is possible. All of that is useful. You're not just learning their preference, you're learning their rule book. Fourth question. What's a decision you made that surprised even yourself? This reveals elasticity, the ability to stretch beyond the story we tell about who we are. Someone might say, I'm shy, but I volunteered to run a town hall. Or, I'm risk-averse, but I quit to build a tiny studio. Or, I never confront people, but I finally set a boundary and slept like a baby. Why it works? People lock themselves inside labels, introvert, realist, perfectionist, and then live small inside those walls. This question remembers the door. It asks, when did you walk out? With failure off the table, people say what they actually want. She prepared like a craftsperson. She spoke with stillness, not hype. She got a standing ovation. Later, when we needed a spokesperson for a delicate client issue, guess who calmly handled the fire? The person who had evidence she could surprise even herself. If someone can't name a surprise, it doesn't make them weak. It tells you they may need safety before change, structure before leaps. Useful knowledge. If surprises light them up, they're builders. Start a counseling clinic for teenagers. Film disappearing cultures. Build a school where kids learn how to think, not just what to memorize. Listen for speed. Fast answers tend to be true desires, long buried. Slow answers can signal that a person was taught to put dreams away. Either way, you're being trusted with something precious. A friend once answered instantly, I'd create a non-profit that gives single parents free legal help. 6 months later, she enrolled in night classes. A year later, she was interning part-time. Today, she does exactly that. She didn't need permission. She needed a question. And here's the counter-question that reveals just as much. If you knew you would fail, but the attempt would make you braver, would you still do it? Some people say yes without blinking. Those are the ones who build cultures, not just careers. They understand that failure is tuition. Let's string these together so you can hear the rhythm in a real conversation. 3 small rules. Rule 1. Earn your asks. Offer something first. Attention, a small vulnerability, a real compliment that isn't flattery. People open to people who open. Rule 2. Respect the pause. When someone looks away, breathes, and goes quiet, don't fill it. That silence is where the truth gathers itself. Rule 3. Mirror lightly. That's relationship depth on demand. Them, honestly, teaching my kid to ride a bike. You, that's awesome. I used to believe I had to choose between work and family time. I don't believe that anymore. I just plan harder. What's something you used to believe that you don't? Them, that being busy equals being important. You, if you could change one thing about how people treat each other, what would it be? Them, I wish people would keep small promises. You, what's a decision you made that surprised even yourself? Them, telling my boss I won't answer email after 7 p.m. and then actually sticking to it. You, last one, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? A word of caution. Power like this deserves ethics. Don't use these questions to mine for leverage. Use them to build respect. If someone deflects, smile and pivot. If they answer shallowly, meet them there and go 1 inch deeper next time. The Stoic way is disciplined curiosity. Never force, never pry, never perform intimacy you haven't earned. Now, I promised you one line that replaces, "Hi, how are you?" Try this. Tell me something good. It's simple, surprising, and it tilts attention toward gratitude, not performance. People pause, scan their week for a bright spot, and you've already changed the energy of the conversation. From there, ask the first question. You'll feel the room shift. If you want even more precision, here are micro prompts you can drop after each answer to go one layer deeper without feeling heavy. After the highlight, what made that moment stand out? This converts event into meaning. After the belief change, what experience upgraded that belief? This reveals the learning engine. After the people wish, where did you first notice that mattered to you? This locates the origin story. After the self-surprise, what did that version of you teach the old you? This turns pride into wisdom. After the no-failure dream, what's the smallest first step in 20 minutes or less? This turns fantasy into plan. You can use these with a spouse who feels distant, a teenager who shrugs, a team that only talks metrics, a friend who's slowly drifting, or a stranger you want to know beyond the weather. 5 keys: joy, growth, values, elasticity, direction. Ask them in a journal, out loud on a walk, or in the Notes app after a hard day. Your own answers will embarrass you, inspire you, and, if you're honest, reveal the small course corrections that change the next decade. Let's recap cleanly so you can memorize them without notes. What's been the highlight of your week so far? What's something you used to believe that you don't believe anymore? If you could change one thing about how people treat each other, what would it be? What's a decision you made that surprised even yourself? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? If this unlocked something for you, use one question today before the day ends. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Make one. Ask a sibling. Ask a coworker on a break. Ask the person you love most when the dishes are done and the house is finally quiet. Then listen like it's sacred, because it is. If you got value from this, tap like, so the algorithm sends it to the people who need it. Subscribe if you want more practical Stoic tools you can use in real conversations, not just in quotes on a wall. And tell me in the comments, which question will you ask first, and to whom? I'll be reading and cheering you on. Until next time, speak less, ask better, listen fully, and watch your relationships transform.